CBS News.
The following program deals with a controversial subject. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Hey there, welcome back to This Week in Redacted, a weekly podcast where we examine the top 5 abnormal news articles as provided by Reddit. Now, I'm Ryan Redacted, and the categories we're going to be examining tonight are going to be conspiracy, true crime, the paranormal, cryptozoology, and I'm forgetting the last one. What is it, Chris?
Aliens.
Aliens. As always, aliens. And with me every week is Chris Redacted. How are you doing this week, Chris?
I'm doing fine, man. It's been busy. Been busy with work, work's been picking up, work retail, so that's been getting kind of hectic. It's been an interesting day and week in media, especially for us. It's been a popping week in the Bigfoot community. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's been good. It's been good. It's good to be back and discussing abnormalities, I guess, news. Abnormal news is what we were calling it.
Yeah, we have some really fun posts today, and some of them are actually reposts in a sense because we were already talking about them last week in one way or another. So, for instance, we had a huge discussion around AI last week, right?
Yep.
And this week that's going to be super relevant. And of course, we're gonna also go over episode 3 of Encounters.
Oh, that should be spicy.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to digging into it. I've got a little synopsis this time, and we're also going to be doing a Campfire Tales, and that will be led by you. And then we'll be wrapping it up with some TikTok reactions on some of the goofiest, most ridiculous. Like, TikTok is just so bad, but there's just something like. It's literally Halloween candy.
You know what's
TikTok
funny?
Is Halloween candy.
I don't even have a TikTok account. So it's like what you're showing me is like my version of TikTok. And it just like, I don't think I'll get it. Like, it's just, but they're so bad. You're right. It's like Halloween candy. It's like candy corn candy of candy,
Well, which part is the part that you don't, is it that you don't get it or you don't agree with sort of the short form content?
I just don't get it, the short format. Like, I just don't. I was never into Vine. I was, shorts and all of that. Like, I was just like, doesn't do anything for me. And I kind of hated that YouTube is doing that too. Like, they're all doing that.
Listen, man, the world is about short form content. I can't believe you never got into Vine.
I never got into Vine. I never got into TikTok. Snapchat. I was never part of Snapchat. Like, I think I am one of those people that I used Instagram back in the day for like just photography, and that was it. And I don't like what it's turned into, and I think that's what it is. Like, I don't like that whole format. I think it dumbs us down. Like, I think it actually does anything. I think it actually hurts us. It's so much entertainment and information gets put out there and misinformation, but I think it's detrimental to like intelligence, just because it's like our attention span. It's like, how long are the segments? Less than a minute, like a minute 30.
They're going to be a minute, but look, here's the thing, right? I have heard this argument my entire life from every single old person that's been in my
But I'm
life.
not. We're almost
Okay,
the same age, and I'm not saying that
I
it's
know
like
we're almost.
it's like it's not like I'm saying it's making us dumber. Like I actively feel dumber watching these things. Like a minute, like it's just like my attention span. And now even like when I'm browsing through videos, like I'll skip through the stuff. It's like it's just like it encourages that. I just don't understand.
I don't think so. Here's where I'm going to disagree with you on it, right? Because I had a professor in college who literally, around the time when I was in college, phones were starting to be like, cell phones were starting to be like all the rage, right? Like everyone was like getting into them.
Are you
We
talking
had
about the
pagers
big old brick
beforehand.
ones? Like, the one that was like,
Yeah, the
hello?
Nokias. Yes, yes, absolutely. Those are the ones I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, like I think
So
my dad had one and he was an electrician for the city, dude. And that's the only reason. Them and drug dealers, it's like he was on call with the city. So it's like he had to go have that. But anybody else that had that was like a drug deal. And I am one of those people that I am not ashamed to say, dude, I didn't get a cell phone until like maybe 2012 because work made me get a cell phone. But before that, I didn't have a cell phone. Like I didn't
I am
feel
learning so much about you. I cannot believe that that's true.
yeah,
How is that
and
true?
then someone was like, "Why don't you have a cell phone?" Right? Like I was just like, "Well, maybe I don't want to be found. If you want to find me, you know how to find me." And that's how I
I
went.
don't even know
But
what to say.
work
Like this
work
is
made me like I
horrible.
had to have one, and that's where I was like, "All right, I guess I have to have one." And yeah, it was like 2011, 2010 maybe, and yeah, that's when I got a cell phone, and I was like way behind. I didn't have a pager. I didn't have like the whole Nokia, and I had none of that. Like it just did. I don't know. I don't know if it didn't interest me or I just didn't feel like I needed one at the time.
Okay, well, I definitely felt like I needed one. I had a pager, like the cheap $1.99 per
But
month
why, bro? You used
pager
to get
in
those
high school.
the text lead speak. Is that what you used to do on it?
Yeah, no,
Show me
absolutely.
your
People would be
boobies. Is
like,
like they used to text girls in it.
no, nothing like that. But it was like, hey, let's meet up here or whatever. And it was just like it was a way to ping, especially like when I
But you
started
could do the same
driving.
thing with the landline. God, I'm sounding old.
You can, except for we were all driving around at that point, and it was one of those things where it was just like, I mean, that's not even the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation was in college, right? I had a much older professor who saw the text messaging stuff go on
Mhm.
and saw how people were starting to use emojis, and I'll never forget his rant on how it was destroying civilization because people were putting smiley faces instead of
Text.
smiling, right? Or yeah, or
Or
instead of
LOL or a
describing.
ruffle or it's like yeah, they've become official words at this point.
Yeah, all of that stuff. He was convinced 100% that it was going to be the downfall of society. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it was the start of the downfall of society.
So this is a
I don't think
conspiracy.
so.
This is a conspiracy nut in me, right? Like maybe they're trying to purposely distract us. They're purposely giving us these 1 minutes. So our attention span is just smaller. We're not really paying attention to what's really going on with all the crap that's going on right now, right? And maybe
Who's
that's
they?
who even knows that. That's a whole nother story. But it's just like our attention span is smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Like it feels like they're purposely doing that. Or maybe humans are just that stupid and we thrive for 1 minute attention and on to the next thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think. I think that I don't think that it's. I think that the 1 minute time span or the shorter time span is just actually how like one way that we operate, right? I don't think that it's necessarily like forcing us to be dumber or smarter, but it's just like a different contextualized format for us understanding and wrapping our minds around things. And here's where I'm getting that from. Have you ever read a haiku?
I mean, not recently.
Okay, but you know what a haiku
I
is,
know what a
right?
haiku is. It's yes, a short format
Okay.
poem is what it really
It's
is,
a
right?
short it is a YouTube short,
Oh God.
TikTok of poetry, and they're difficult to write. I am telling you. I took a creative writing
What is
class
it like? Five
in
syllables, six syllables, five
PCC
syllables? Is that what it is? Or do I even have that right?
of yeah, 575 or 711 7. God, it's been so long. I'm not a
You
creative
have to. I
person
have to
anymore.
look that
So
up now.
yeah, it's one of those formats. But the point is that you're restricted in syllables, right? And
Yeah, it's
I'm
3
telling
lines
you, I
with
had
5
this
syllables in the first line, and then 7 in the second, and then 5 in the
five
third.
seven.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah,
no
there
way
you
I
go.
could write it. I'm terrible.
Well, here's the thing. It's easy to write them, okay? It's easy to count syllables. What's challenging is actually putting an intriguing story into the condensed space. And so when I went to PCC, I don't know if you remember PCC in
Pasadena City
Pasadena.
College, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a professor, Ron Corchi. I forget his name now. It's such a long time ago. But anyhow, I took a creative writing class with him, and he was just firing on. He had like so many like haikus, but the thing that was amazing about them was that they were little stories, and they had twists and turns in this really condensed space. And to bring it back around to the short format stuff, right, and the conspiracy against destroying our attention, I don't think anyone would argue that haikus are destroying our attention. If anything, it forces you to be more concise with the things that you're trying to say. And I think when you're looking at the short form stuff, a lot of people just spit out garbage, but really it's not. The format does, in order to do it well, you have to really understand how to tell a story in that short amount of time. So I don't know. I don't think it's dumbing us down. I think people do use them in an idiotic way, but I don't think it's
Very
dumbing us
idiotic.
down.
I mean, half of the videos we watch on there are just comical. And yeah, it's just me being a conspiracy guy. Like, yeah, it's like dumbing this down. Like, but like I'll sit there and I'll watch them. Like, but I still don't have an account. I won't do it.
That's fine. We'll have the shared account. We'll show them on here, and we'll cut them up, and we'll
Eventually, I'll
have them
have to because
in
it's like I can't go
segments.
search for them actively unless I have an account. So I'm just like, great. It's like I have to like type it into Google and hopefully Google pops it up, like, or people send them to me, and that's how I usually watch them. But I still won't create an account. Like, and it's not because it's like a China, app or anything like that. I'm not that against it. Like, I don't know. I just haven't showed interest into it.
Oh, I'm totally paranoid that China's spying on us with that. That's one conspiracy theory that I will buy into
You
like
think, yeah,
very easily.
didn't they like you have to have all these type of remove all the restrictions? Like you have to say you're okay with them like getting your information, selling your information, or collecting your data for their purpose.
I don't trust anything that anyone says with data, and that's because I work in tech. So I understand how just all of that nonsense works. And when you're dealing with like like China, if they want your data, they're going to get your data. That's my opinion, at least. I'm not going to state that as fact because there's obviously all kinds of like laws and regulations around data. But at the end of the day, if they want it, they're going to get it. But for us, it's an entertaining thing. And I would like to say to our audience, if you have suggestions for a TikTok or YouTube shorts for us to watch, please toss them to us. Leave them in the
Put them in the
comments.
comments. Be like, you guys need to watch this specific channel because we're not doing it right. We're watching just like random, popular. So it could be that too. Like, put them in the comments.
Yeah, and we need things that are convincing. If you have something more than just some family pulling on like a string to open up a door, please, we need to see it because so far I don't think we've seen anything even remotely convincing.
There's just
They're all
one, right? Like
entertaining.
one or two out of like how many weeks has it been already that we've been doing this? And it's just like two of them where we were both like, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah, and that was like cut up from a YouTube. That was just completely stolen from like Bizarre Bub or some other
The
like prominent
Well, the guy
YouTuber.
that it was off of TikTok where he went into that house it was like a
Yeah,
strange abandoned building, and that one was like really good. And it's because of the dog was
yeah,
in it.
yeah. So, and also, if you're watching us and you're enjoying the content and you want to give us an opportunity to grow as content creators, please like and subscribe because it will definitely help us. And leave a comment for anything related to suggestions for the show format because we're trying to grow this thing out and just have fun with it.
Definitely. Tell us what works, what doesn't work, what you guys like, what you don't like. If you don't like my stories, you want to hear Ryan tell a story, Ryan's hour too.
Yeah, I'll do voices. I'll do the whole thing.
Do
But
sound
before
effects.
sound effects, yeah, I like everything. Well, you ready to get into
Oh
our
yeah,
top five for
definitely.
the week? Oh man, this is going to be the week for fun. I guarantee you. All right, so let's switch on over. So this is number 5 coming in from the Ghost subreddit, which is great for Halloween. With about 2,000 upvotes, 400 comments, and most people really liking this story. This is essentially some webcam footage of a husband and wife's living room that they had set up initially to record what their dogs were barking at. And they caught a combination of things that really cropped up here. One is the door opening, and we're going to take a look at the actual video in a second, and also a voice. And they have a little bit of a story associated with this, just to give some more context. Let's move on over to the post. Effectively, what happened was, wife is out in the kitchen doing some dishes. Husband, I think, is in the back of the house. He's got some earbuds in.
I think he went to work. He was at work and she was there. And then she should send him the video like, hey, something strange happened at home. Like, I need you to watch this.
Okay, so what's the bit with the earbuds then? Oh, he just had his AirPods in when she sent him the video, so he basically saw it immediately. So let's take a look at the video with some audio, and because there's an audio piece to this that I think is the interesting part.
Okay. I couldn't hear it, the audio part, what they said that they heard.
What they said happened.
But go on, let's just watch the video.
Okay, so I heard it at the start. It is really quiet, but it sounds like an.
All right, let me listen to it again one more time.
All right, let's listen to it. Let's go.
Is it before they bark?
Right there.
It sounds like a high to me. It says two things. I don't know if you noticed it.
Oh man, those dogs are pissed. So, I mean, here's my first thought. It's not like we can see anything that's happening here. Like, it could have been a person.
Now here's the test, right? Do you think there's fish string? Like, do you believe that this is a fish string? Because you could tell right away. And this doesn't look like it. This it has a weird slow motion, right? So the dogs are the dogs are calm. And how it's being opened is like the door is leading to the main door that leads outside. The dogs are there. Like I don't see no fish string. And how it opens.
How's the setup? Because this looks like it's the main door to me. This looks like it's like a closet.
That door that opens up is probably a closet. And then the door in front of the door that opened, I think that's the outdoor because you can see the glare of the sun.
Yeah. Okay, it is a closet. That's what's going on there.
Yeah, because you can tell like how small it is compared to the other door next to it. So it's like not a walk-in closet, it's just like a coat closet.
Yeah.
And then you can tell that they have like all their stuff that they hang there, like the dog stuff. So it's like I don't see it. I don't. The dogs freak out.
Yeah. Okay. Look, here's the thing, right? Like, if the owner is in the closet, I don't think the dogs are gonna freak out. Like, just to be honest, like if we're looking at credibility for the post, I think okay. So you've had dogs before, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, like you can play with them for sure, and they'll like bark. They're like dead asleep. The dogs are not like scared or anything, right? They're coming from a rested state.
Well, one of them is right in front of the door. And I think.
And look at how it scrambles.
Is it the first to run away? Let me see. Look at it. How much? Yeah, it's the first to move.
Right there. Poor doggos, man. They're so scared.
Bro, they say dogs, they sense and see. I've had that. You've had dogs, so you ever experienced that? Like your dog just staring at a wall or just staring at something? Your dog or cats?
Oh, Yeah, a couple times. Cats especially, but like I had dogs when I was a kid, and
My cats have done
absolutely.
that. Like if you see behind me, I've seen them like stare at that corner in my room where the machine is at. I've seen them just like standing in front of it, just like staring at the corner. I was like, okay, like what the hell is there? But
Now,
yeah,
to be fair, every single dog, like if you just play a little bit of clown music in the background, like you can tell there's nothing going on in their head anyhow. They're just like
the
food,
Benny
food,
Hill
food.
song is
Yeah, exactly.
you're not wrong, but cats are also they pick it up. Like it's just, they'll do that weird, they're just staring or they're hissing. I've never had a cat hiss at like, nothing, which is thank God. But this one
Oh, I
is
have.
this oh
I
really
have
at
before.
nothing?
Yeah, well, there uh I don't want to say nothing because it's like
It was hissing at nothing
Selena.
in front of it, is what it was
Yeah,
hissing at.
I didn't see anything, but like it could have been a possum, it could have, you know what I mean? Like there's so many just like animal triggers. They definitely have senses that are more honed than ours.
Definitely. Like my cats and dogs over the years, I've seen them sense some stuff that I'm just like, huh. But this one's good. This one's pretty good. This is one of the first solid ones we've seen in a while on this subreddit. A lot of them have not been solid. You always bash them like right away. Where I'm just like, okay, this one's interesting. This is a
Yeah, I
good
mean,
spooky, creepy video.
yeah, one problem I think with a lot of the videos that we've looked at, and especially the ones on TikTok that we were just like talking about, is they just start off from a space of bad faith,
They put
right? Like
terrible
it feels,
music. Yeah, it's like if they would have put the
yeah,
eerie, creepy background noise. Like, no, I like the fact that they just put this video and they're like, hey, what do you guys think? Like, should we be freaked out? Like, are they going to upload more videos? It's things like that, or with more creepy music. But this one's a good one.
yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like the door opening on its own. I mean, I had a screw fly out of the wall this last week. I was putting in some like a fixture type thing, and I let go of it, and the thing just literally came out, and it's really bizarre, right? Things like that happen. Like that's just a thing that happens. Doors open, there's like a gust of wind or like all kinds of reasons for things to happen. The
I mean, what
dog's
is
getting
it? Pressure?
scared.
The barometer change? Is that what you're blaming? Is just, things that open by themselves, like doors open by. I've had doors open by itself. This door right here has opened by itself. This one right here. What is that one?
Your living room door.
This one right here. This one's open by itself lots of times in the middle of the night. Like, let's say I'm gaming,
Okay.
and then it'll just be like clank clank. It's a coat room. That's what it is. It's not big.
Oh, a coat room. Okay, my bad. My bad.
So
Okay.
I've had
Yeah.
that open, and I'll just turn around and just be like, "What the fuck?" But it's not like it could be as my girl uses it every day. She may not close it right, and it could be like the gust of
Yeah.
wind. It could be my neighbors coming up the stairs and vibrating it, but it opens all the time by itself. It'd be cool if it opens by itself while we're streaming.
Yeah. And here's the thing: the door could have opened by itself, and it just scared the dogs. Doesn't have to be a ghost.
I've
Doesn't have
had
to be a
as much as I
ghost.
wanted to be a ghost, I've had that happen. Like just open itself and scare the hell out of the cats and frighten me a little bit. It's creepy having that open by itself in the middle of the night, or you're gaming or
Yeah.
you're watching a movie or something. You're just like, what?
Well, we expect things to stay the way that they are. We don't expect to see change.
I mean,
Like
but if
if
it
if
closed
something is
by
sitting.
itself, then it would have been even creepier.
I don't know. I would have just said, "Hey, thanks for shutting the door. I didn't want to do it."
Right? Yeah. But it's like I think we all experience doors opening and closing, and sometimes there's logical explanations for it.
Yeah, but this was definitely one of the better ones. I
Yeah,
would
definitely.
definitely.
This one's kind of I
I
can't really explain it. I can't say it's a ghost. I can't say no backstory behind it. That's also what I like too. Like it wasn't like, hey, we moved into this house. People said that like the lady died before she had like four cats and she died in that room. I like that too.
yeah.
We're like, we don't know what happened. We don't know exactly, and some creepy stuff is now happening.
All right, let's kick off number 4. All right, this one is going to be
This
the talk of the town,
is my favorite.
cryptozoologies. Yep. Number 4 coming in, cryptozoology, about 2,000 upvotes, 340 comments. Most people enjoying the post.
Oh, I enjoyed
Bigfoot
it.
reportedly spotted from a train in a remote part of Colorado. So I think the important thing is just to dig into this one with the footage. We'll do it once with the audio. So why don't you take this off and while I load the
Oh
zoomed in
man, all right.
footage?
So this took place on a train that was going from Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. So it's a famous train, track that goes through Colorado. It is absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. It's actually a thing I probably want to do now just because after watching this video. So it's a group of people, they're on a train and they say that there's four people that actually see it and they're recording it. They see it passing by, so you can see the video. And what got me about it is that they're the only four people that reacted to it, and everybody stayed kind of calm on it. So there's a lot of information. People posted the GPS coordinates for it. You could look it up
Ooh.
on there. It's really close to a town. Like it's not even far from town. So someone could have potentially walked over there, positioned themselves, and as the train was coming by, they made it seem like Bigfoot was coming. I'm gonna say this is a fake, and there's two reasons why I believe it's fake. Now, if you could pull up the video and focus on the part where his leg is back a bit, it looks like a pant, and that's what Reddit like destroyed. Like it ate it up. They're saying a certain point where he's making a stride, and that when he back strides, you can see the back part of his leg, and it looks like a pant. And there's minor pixelation in it if you zoom in on it, and you could see it. Now it's super convincing. If it is real, it would be one of the most compelling Bigfoot videos in modern times, besides the Patterson video. But you could tell the pant right there.
Oh, right there.
You
I
could see the
see.
pant leg, and that's where Reddit was like destroying it. Oddly enough, I actually posted this video before Cryptozoology posted it, dude, and it has 1 million views from it, and it got shared
Wow.
2,000 times. And dude, the amount of posts that I got from it, because I posted it right after I saw the Facebook story that my fiance messaged me. She's like, "Oh, check this out. This looks really good." And she's not a believer at all. She's like a super skeptic on Bigfoot. She thinks I'm crazy. She thinks anybody, believes in interdimensional Bigfoot is ridiculous. But I saw that. I went to Reddit to go see what people were talking about it, and there was no post of it. So then I downloaded the video from Facebook, I put it up there, and I shared it, and I found out where it was, who posted it. And then people started pointing out things saying, like, hey, it's got this weird pointy head. It's super shiny. An animal of that nature out in the wild would not look that clean, is what they were saying. You could tell too that it looks like really like super clean. You could see it, and definitely the pant. But there's some people saying that if you zoom in on it, there's pixelation on his leg, and they're saying that's why it looks like a pant. And you can see that also the pixelation in it. So that kind of like makes it a 50-50. But I personally think what debunks this is there's a known company that is right down the street from this place that sells equipment, and it's Sasquatch like equipment or something like that. And that's where everybody's saying like these people are doing it for publicity. The owner wears a Bigfoot costume and he goes out there and takes pictures with people, and he's trying to sell his product. And it's just a publicity stunt because anybody, how close it is to the track and this little city that's near, it's like it's walking distance. It's like probably from your local gas station to your home, like how far it is. It's not even that far. And they're saying that it's staged and it was out there for publicity, and because it's now viral and now everybody knows there, that everyone's now going to go out to that area. And The odd thing is they also have Bigfoot expeditions, and that's what they sell. They sell all of that, and it's. I honestly think that's what it is. As much as it's a great video, it's pretty compelling. Uh, the fact that it was on a train and people were recording it, I think that was it was really well done. Really, really well done hoax if it's a hoax. If it's real, then it's also a really good video. The only thing that I have against it is that it wasn't recorded in 1080p. It's still in 720p, which is still solid, but like, come on, guys. 4K, man. Like, how many people don't have 4K set up on their phone or at least 1080p and 60 frames per second? Like,
I mean, if you're going through Colorado, beautiful
yeah, like, are
Colorado,
you going to be recording it in 720p?
I, what kind of monster does that?
You'd be
You know?
surprised how many boomers, don't know, maybe. But I just, as a believer, there's like 25% of me thinks this is real. The 75% is the pant leg, how close it is to the city, and that Sasquatch expedition, you know, group that sells, trips to help you go look for Bigfoot in Colorado. Beautiful area. And I don't know how much you researched, but I remember when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then people started going like, no, there's this problem with this. No, there's a problem with that. The height ratio isn't correct. His arm ratio isn't correct. His leg ratio, his stride isn't correct. Like it's too close to the city. Why would it sit down? I mean, people were making fun of it, saying that it was sitting down taking a shit, which is hilarious. But there was one thing that someone said that, like, if Bigfoot is real and this is what it really does, that it blended really well with that environment. If you really think about it, like if you weren't told and you were just paused and you say, find a Bigfoot in this picture. And that's
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it blended really well. So hats off to the hide and seek champion.
Yeah, that's in terms of it being convincing and compelling. That's the piece that caught my eye was the fact that like when he does squat down, like you just wouldn't, as a passerby on a train, you wouldn't see it. I thought that was very interesting. I don't think this is real. I've heard you can go hunting and wear camouflage and the same kind of setup. Your story about it just being like a viral ad basically for a local business
Yeah,
sounds
definitely. Yeah,
reasonable.
yeah. That's viral ad is what they're trying to do. I think the pant leg is what like did it for me. Once someone pointed that out, I was like, "Ah, this is fake. It's a really good fake."
I mean, this hit every single YouTube channel that
Oh
I've
man,
subscribed to.
they all
Every
loved it and ate it. It
people,
was like on
oh yeah,
CNN, it was on
oof.
TMZ, it was on I think Forbes. It was like on everywhere because it was just like, is this Bigfoot? Like, did they someone capture Bigfoot? So there's still a complete fascination about this, and this is pretty good. This is pretty good, attempt of making this real. Like this is a really good one. Like I give it a 10 out of 10 in quality and production and attempt to like fool a whole crowd of people. The funny thing
Definitely a
is
fun
like,
one.
yeah, everybody was like, I hope he was wearing a vest because someone could have shot him and killed him. Half of the
Oh man,
half of the
that's
people were
yeah.
arguing, going like, "Why would you kill Bigfoot?" And the other half were like, "Why wouldn't you?" It's like, and that's where I was like, "Man, I would never dress up as Bigfoot for like clout and try to make millions off of a video because I run the risk of getting shot." Because half of the people on Reddit said like, "Yeah, they would absolutely shoot a Bigfoot."
Yeah, they say that about anything on Reddit though. Like
Uh,
every other post is like, yeah, I just shoot like whoever.
but yeah, this is a
Well,
good one. I viral ad and it could be real. I mean, they haven't come out and said that it's a hoax, that they did it, that the owner did it and put a suit on. Now, the only thing in my defense for the video was like the costume that the guy wears on their webpage, because you could find it. Like if you look it up, the Colorado, if you look up Durango Silverton,
yeah.
Sasquatch, you could find it. That guy's costume is pretty terrible. And the two costume he has on and on his webpage, they look nothing like this guy's costume. So this actually is a very good costume.
It's kind of hard to tell with the pixels, to be honest. Like
Well, you could
it
see that
definitely
there's
blends in
like
color
you could
wise.
see like the hair on it, it moves, where the other one just looks like patches of like hair was, like not I don't even know the process like how they make costumes, but this looks like it's meant to be wavy and movement, and the costume that they show you looks like a terrible, Party City Bigfoot costume. It's what they look like he was wearing.
Why do you have to bash on Party City, man?
I mean, they're
Come on.
terrible, let's be real, for $60.
All right, well, this one's a thumbs down for me for sure. I
It
think
gets a
it's fun,
thumbs
it's
up for
entertaining.
entertainment, and it almost had me. It almost had me like this is it. This is the next Patterson video. And then it got debunked right away by like the community. It's crazy
That's why you need skeptics.
the amount of messages that Reddit tells you, the amount of people that commented on it, and half the community believe it was absolutely real and it changes the Bigfoot game, and the other half are like fake, 1000%. So it's just so crazy how split that community is. I love that community. They're hilarious.
It's been pretty fun. I join them just to see what people are saying, and you know, very polarizing.
Absolutely. And we probably won't have another thing like this for maybe like another year, maybe another 6 months, maybe. They come in waves, like
Next October.
yeah, next October.
All right. Well, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is from Morbid Reality with almost 3,000 upvotes, 240 comments, and everybody is just digging this one because it is news. And we actually talked about this
I mean, I had the body
last
count wrong. I was
week.
like 1,000 or something like that, but it was like 15, 115 bodies.
Oh yeah, you were off by, oh my god. When you said like 1,000, I was like, what is like 1,000 bodies? Like what does that even look like?
Hey, trying to make it spicy here.
So here's the context for this one. Police found 115 bodies at Colorado Green Funeral Home while investigating putrid smells. So this one is really one thing that we didn't hone in on last week, and we were just talking about this one in passing last week, was that it is a green funeral home. Do you know what a green funeral home is?
No.
Okay, so a green funeral home is a natural funeral home where they have biodegrading caskets. They don't embalm. They use materials
Acid.
that aren't toxic, right? And they basically bury you in and then into the ground with, a set of conditions, and then just everything just kind of like melts away. So it's meant to be like you're not going to be in your casket. Basically, your casket just kind of
You become part of
gets
the tree is
evaporated.
what.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, how bad
Now,
is it? Like the non-green ones. Like, how bad is it really? Like for the Earth, I guess. Like chemically, like
I don't know. I can't imagine it's good, but I imagine the casket keeps a lot of that in, right?
you would assume.
I actually don't know. I
Like,
would
what happens when it
assume. I don't
rains?
know.
Like, I mean, because it's still gonna go through that. They're not waterproof, and water does sink. So who knows? That's a very good. I'm gonna actually research that.
I might as well just get an answer for like what happens with the chemicals during
So, does the
embalming,
article
because
cover anything about them, like why they went out of business and why this, like, because I know they're suing the guy, right? Like, and they're holding him accountable for all of these bodies now.
so here, all the information I have is from a couple of days ago, so I don't know if there was anything that cropped up like in the last day or so. But effectively, they just piled up bodies. They charged people and started piling up bodies and called it a natural funeral. So I have the AP article, and then the interesting thing from the AP article was that they were charging like 18.95 for a natural burial, which didn't count the casket or the cemetery space. And that's where I kind of honed in on the green burial
Okay, so let me
aspect
let
of
me
it.
explain this to me like I'm 5 years old, right? Like, if I'm understanding is, so they were running a green funeral home, right? And in
Yeah,
their funeral home, they were charging 1,800, is what you're saying, right? So
Yeah, minus the casket and other
okay,
stuff,
so
but yeah.
then they weren't doing the whole standard way of burying people. Were they just really just stacking bodies on top of it and saying this is natural and it was just still functioning? Is that what I'm gathering? Is that what I'm understanding? Or was it a business that already had gone out of business? Because that's what I first thought the article was trying to say, or that it conveyed that it was a business that failed and it decided, all right, these 115 bodies, sorry guys, good luck. Is that what happened? Or this is what's their business practice and the community then reported them because it smelled foul?
It's not, you're not supposed to just throw bodies into a big pile. Like, let's start with that. Like,
Yes,
that's not what they're
I
doing here,
understand, but
right?
that's what they're saying
Okay.
is they were green.
That's not green. That's not green. Green has still like
Okay,
some
so they were fall.
criteria
Okay,
to it. Yeah, it's not
so
just
they
like
were
dig a
doing
ditch and
things
then throw them
completely
into
wrong,
the.
is what I'm getting, right? I'm gathering from.
They're taking people's money. They were telling them they're going to do the green process. One of the things that did crop up was, I believe, if you're not going to bury a body within 24 hours, you need to refrigerate it. Like, there's actual regulations that need to be followed independent of if it's green or not. The green is just like a separate set of criteria, right? So that you can bury it in a more natural way.
It's like
And
the vegan of burying people. Is that what it is? What you're telling me?
it is, except for they don't really advertise it at every chance they get. They're not like,
Copy.
hey, you should bury green, you know?
My apologies to all our vegan watchers.
Yeah, all zero of them.
Really.
But yeah, so there's a set of criteria for it, and it clearly this is negligence on the funeral home, right? They were just taking people's money, throwing people into piles. There's not a lot of information on why AP had reached out to basically everybody, including the owner. There's absolutely going to be some lawsuits that are associated with this one way or
Well, all the
another.
families, all those 115 families that they thought that their family members were being properly and organically being organic with
Yeah.
the world, I guess that's how they might have pitched it to them.
Although a local newscast, which I actually have here, if we want to watch it, I do believe they say that they're not pressing charges.
Really?
Let's take a look at let's see what this says, because this is the actual NBC News article from it.
See, the only discovered is because it smelled terrible, right? Is why they only went there to begin with. This is such a big thing. I was just so surprised that the families are not going to sue.
Wow. What do you say to that? You know?
Nothing.
What a bummer, man. Like what
Oh,
like I don't know. Like he claimed to be practicing taxidermy. Like let that sink in a little bit. There's 115 bodies at this location. It smells bad. It smells horrifically bad. They call him up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just do taxidermy. That's what I'm doing in there."
I'm practicing.
Yeah, I'm practicing.
I'm
I
trying
know I got
new
some
new
practice.
techniques and ways and measures of doing things.
I mean, it's just horrific, absolutely horrific. And they're gonna like we'll talk about this. I think this is one that we should just follow just because it's like so freaking
And be
bizarre.
like, what happened? Follow up.
Yeah, we'll do a follow
A
up on this
follow
and we'll
up and
bring
be
it up
like,
on the
what really happened to
podcast.
this guy? Yeah. There's families that are
Yeah,
gonna
this
sue.
is.
I think they're gonna sue.
I mean, it doesn't. I don't like if the guy didn't renew the funeral license and then basically took in $115,000, more
Easy
than
money.
$115,000
He
of
might have not
money in
even know
that
what he
time.
was doing and just pretend like I know, this is what I'm doing and be like, oh, this is much harder than what I anticipated. Like how hard is it to get rid of bodies, in a funeral home? And maybe he just was like way over his head. That
He
could
just wanted to
also,
be a simple taxidermist, you know? That's all he wanted out of life was just to be a simple taxidermist.
yeah,
All right. Well,
definitely not.
all right. Well, that's enough of the
Man, that just sucks.
bummer situation.
And this week I just like
Let's
touched base with you. Like I was like, hey, did you hear about this? I was like, yeah, like 1,000 bodies. Might as well have been 1,000 bodies. Make a lot of money.
All right, so this one, okay, so number two, all right, here's number two with 3,891 upvotes, 753 comments, and 85%, so 15% of the people downvoted this. This is from the conspiracy theory subreddit. Question everything you see. So, do you know the context on this one? Because this is context heavy.
No, I don't know
Okay.
what he was talking about, like what he was posting, like like what was. So from what I gathered is there was Hamas did an attack against Israel, and they were saying that they killed like 50 babies, right? And they decapitated and burned them, and I think that's what he was discussing, right? As far as I understand.
Yeah, so let's dig into this one because even before the show was going to launch earlier in the week, I was going to say, and I didn't message you because it didn't become an issue. I don't want to be covering anything around the conspiracy related Israeli Hamas war, right? Mainly because I don't think if you're not like well versed in some like a topic like that, especially as polarizing as it is, well, why are all people talking about and taking a stance one way or the other? Like, just people shouldn't be killing people. People shouldn't be, bombing people under any circumstance. That's the general take. And I knew conspiracy Reddit was going to have something around that. But that's not what this post is about. That's only the catalyst for this tweet. So a little bit of context on Ben Shapiro. Ben is I guess, I think journalist. He's definitely an author. He's a conservative talking head, really popular on YouTube. He founded, I can never remember the name, the Daily Wire, which is a conservative sort of like news outlet that's got like a bunch of media and all that kind of stuff. He's also Jewish. And so you can imagine in the situation with Israeli and Hamas war going on, that if you're an online figure, you're going to be getting hit with all kinds of just garbage and nonsense just thrown at you. And what I suspect is that that's probably what was happening in the context here was that, he's
You
doing
think
his
he
regular
got
Twitter thing.
you think he got baited? Is that what it is? Like someone sent him this image, or you think?
Look, everyone's gonna be emotional from like whatever stance they're coming from, and of course there's gonna be like online trolls, and so like the response to this, right, was eventually he sees this image, and this is where this post comes in, right, and this image is allegedly in the context of his understanding, um, some kind of dead Jewish baby, and that's what he was processing it as, and that's not exactly what it was.
Mm.
And so he's posting this as basically, so his tweet is gone, by the way, like he took it down.
Yeah,
But basically this
he
gets on his
redacted it.
radar. He redacted it, yeah. So this gets on his radar. He's like, okay, this is the kind of garbage that's happening in the world. But this was an AI generated image, apparently.
Yeah, it's
So
so
that's where this really
dangerous.
takes
Yeah.
off. Yeah, so it's came from, apparently, going on the conspiracy Reddit, from this image of a puppy, which then got translated into this generated image of charred something, and then that got floated up.
I think
And
also too, for context, you have to explain like why the puppy picture is relevant to the whole AI, because you could feed the AI pictures and say, hey, I need you to create an image off of this, and this image I want you to hit all this criteria in it. And let's say in this one I want you to put, like, let's say baby Ryu in this, make it, instead of a puppy, put baby Ryu, and then the AI is going to generate that image. So it seems like that's what they did. They got that image of the puppy, commanded the AI with instructions to say, hey, I need you to make, a burn dead baby and make it completely charred, and, put a very shocking aspect to it. And that's what it generated. So for those, viewers, watchers that don't know that, like, that's how AI kind of works. I've messed with it. I know you've messed with it significantly. I've made some crazy pictures, and I know you've shared that, and which is just crazy how sophisticated it could be, and someone could turn something so innocent into this. It's just, my mind is blown, and someone got suckered. They got debated into posting a picture of AI generated image and put it out there, and don't believe everything you read, really, or see. It's so
and that's
dangerous.
that. Yeah, like we were talking about this last week. We're going to be talking about this a lot, especially since we're going to be covering conspiracies, right? Validity of information. Misinformation is a phrase that I absolutely hate, because when it comes down to it, misinformation, you can be misinformed on something, and there's a component of bad faith in, I'll be using that phrase a lot, I think, probably over the course of while we're doing this. This is not misinformation. This is bad faith information. Someone intentionally designed this to, capitalize on people's feelings during a time of war, to ignite their darker side, to basically fuel fire. Right? This is like absolute. This is the worst case scenario for using AI, is using it to manipulate people in a really disgusting way. And I just, it's not misinformation. Like a whole tier above misinformation in terms of just like how destructive it is.
Yeah, that's like a whole nother, it's like it created a whole nother term or another thing, really, if you really think about it. It's just so, it's powerful and scary at the same time. Like someone with so much influential power could put something out like this and say, like, hey, this is what it is, and if he doesn't go and delete this, like, what type of influence can it actually have, or like what kind of, hate can it actually generate? Because it's bad. Like, I don't know how much you followed what's going on in the world. Dude, I live in Los Angeles, and I have people fighting over it in front of my store over, you know Palestine and Israel, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And I try not
Yeah.
to intervene. I'm like, it's none of my business. I'm not going to go into this. I'm not going to give my stance on it. Like, I'm not, like, I know it's sad, and I know it's a conflict, and I know it's happening. This is not even the first time. It's not even the second time. It's not even the third time. I think it's like the fourth or fifth time this has happened. So there's a systematic problem in that area. Maybe we're to blame for it. Maybe we're not. Maybe they're to blame for it. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't know enough politics. I don't know enough geopolitics. I don't know enough of anything to, like, really say what's the problem that's really causing it. And it's just sad because a lot of people are dying.
Yeah. Are you cool with vetoing conspiracy theories around the
Yes.
Israeli-Hamas conflict? Okay, so I think we're just gonna take a stance, just as a whole, just to
It's
I'm sure
just
there'll be interesting things that come out of that,
I
but
think it's like how we talked about the other. This is dangerous. It's dangerous for
yeah,
us. It's dangerous for just in general.
yeah, and I think something like this, I think is absolutely worth talking about because it's exploiting people's feelings, right? And it's really an article about AI. It's not really about the conflict. That's just the container that it's in. But I don't really want to talk about like conspiracies related to an ongoing war. Just because again, there's just so much misinformation, so much bad faith information, and it's like we would have to entirely, in order to do something like that, we would need to be reporters. We would need to be entirely dedicating our full workday to
Full
investigate. You know
work
what I mean? Like,
year, bro. That's what
yeah,
this thing goes back
exactly.
a long time ago.
Yeah, and I think it's just left up. It's better left up to people who are in that
Journalist,
space. Yeah.
copy that.
Although I don't just trust a lot of journalism, so
No,
but
I mean
yeah,
the same
for
thing.
sure.
They put out misinformation or bad information or what did you say it was? What are you calling it? Like bad faith?
Bad faith, I think, is really where this comes from. Like, and again, we will start to dig into misinformation and categorizing it because it's this blanket term that's used for all kinds of different individual components of bad information, right? Like
Yeah,
things that aren't true, right? But bad faith, this is manipulation. This is bad faith. So
copy. Let's move
at least
on.
that's how I see it. Yeah. Well, here's our last one. This is
Dude, this is
number
funny.
one again. Oh, I love this one. From the Alien subreddit, coming in at number one with 4,771 votes, 272 comments, and basically everybody's on board with it. This last month in a nutshell.
I mean, didn't I joke?
And
I joked about this. It's like, it's like they actually might have potentially found real life on another planet, and they're trying to figure out the criteria and the data behind it, and they're gonna now analyze it and redo it and keep doing, research on it and try to get it like, peer reviewed and no, that's out the window. The autopsies and everything in Mexico and oh man, who knew that this was gonna happen? It's amazing. I loved it. It was comical, but it's so sad and true.
look here. Okay, here's my first comment on this. Why are the quotes on aliens? It needs to be over real, like real aliens found in Mexico. That's my take on it. Aside from that, like this is another one about misinformation,
Oh
right?
my god.
Because so much, right? Because the carbon dioxide found on Europa um is a thing. Nope, that's not it. Boom, ba-da-dum. So really what we're dealing with here is I don't want to say some whack job because that's a little disingenuous, right? But we have someone who's got a track record of being disproven with the alien, bodies and all that kind of stuff. They've already tried that route and it didn't work, and now it's being mixed in with a presentation to the Mexican government with potentially legitimate information, but it's like peeing in the pool, right? Like the whole water's tainted
More like
now.
shitting in the pool, bro. That's what it really
Yeah,
is.
I mean that's what it is. Although like, and we could do a follow up on it, but they have X-rayed these things. They've
Well, you've seen that
started to dissect them.
they're starting to dissect them and analyze the
Yeah.
DNA and how they're some of the scientists that were doing it were like, it's really fascinating that the head is gone. It makes it really easy now to like dissect, and I don't know enough about DNA extraction and whatnot, and they're carefully doing it. And I'm just like, okay, maybe this is real, maybe it is something, but there's so
Yeah.
much bad faith information on it out there that's just like you gotta believe. Who even knows what to actually believe? I don't even know what's real, what's misinformation, bad faith
Well, and
information.
here's the hard part, right? Because in a previous podcast, we were looking at NASA's response to the whole aliens thing, right? And they basically said like, "Hey, we're going to come out and tell you, or if there's stuff to disclose, we're just going to come out and tell the public," basically, right? So they're already, but the issue there was people don't trust that the government is going to legitimately do that, right?
I mean, they have
So on the
years
one
of us
hand,
not telling us anything to all of a sudden they're just like, oh, we're going to tell you everything now. Like, on good faith, we're going to
right.
tell you all about aliens now. Everything that we get is just going to go straight to you. And it's just like, really? Are you really going to tell us everything? Are you really going to share everything? And so the trust isn't there. How long is it going to take for them? It may never be there. Like, in all honesty, I don't think, I don't trust them. I don't think they're going to
And
do
that's
that.
that's why this meme is so powerful, because what it comes down to is the carbon dioxide found on Europa is, one, you need to have scientific background in order to really understand the full depth of the science that happened there, right? We're only getting a journalist's article on it at the end of the day, so we're relying on like all these layers of analysis to just authenticate that it's like a thing that happened. The real aliens, people are navigating to that because it's it's easily digestible, right? It's you see the picture and you're like, okay, it's aliens, right? You also don't have to have like a huge background in order to be like, yeah, they don't look human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
The one thing that I'm gonna go on this crazy alien theory is I don't know. Okay, so there's 2001 A Space Odyssey, right?
yeah,
Have you ever seen the sequel to it? People also don't know that there's a sequel. So
2002.
it's 2010, the year we made contact, and it's literally us being warned and advised not to go to Europa. They're like, whatever you do, don't go to Europa. Go everywhere else but Europa. And
How have I not seen
yeah,
this?
2010, the year we made contact.
Okay.
And it's interesting, right? And I always thought about that. And I've heard many times interesting things about Europa and how we're advised not to go there. Like, but yet we keep going there. And there's been a lot of literature and movies and sci-fi that like warning us to go to Europa. Like, I don't know enough science about Europa, like what makes Europa so special, a moon of Jupiter for those that don't know. But there's something special about Europa. I don't know if there's like ancient Greek mythology behind it or what exactly about it, but yeah, it's interesting. And that movie pretty much tells us don't go to Europa, stay away from it. And it's from the
Well,
80s.
it's because the options are Europa or Uranus, and no one wants to go to Uranus. So, of
This guy,
course you're
he's here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
gonna. I mean, I just love these names. So,
Europa,
what can I
Uranus.
say?
It's like, who came up with this? Yeah, like, yeah, but this is just a great this is just aliens in a nutshell community, just the world community in a nutshell. That's just us as humans. Life discovered
Yeah, for
potentially
sure.
another planet, hoaxer, alien guy puts out fake aliens and the world goes nuts. Maybe that's what we really want. Maybe we really want like an alien civilization makes itself present and letting us know like it's not like us actively looking for life. What we may regard as life is that itself, carbon monoxide, what is it, dithium sulfide, whatever the hell it
Hmm.
was. Like that's maybe it. And I think we have to be okay with that if that's all it really is.
Oh, I agree. Whatever the truth is, that's what we need to be okay with. And if it turns out the truth is interdimensional big
Bigfoot.
feet,
You
like, that's
okay
fine, as long as
with
it's the
the it's
truth,
fighting
right?
aliens? Remember the species of
Oh yeah.
xenofiends, I think that's what they're called.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it
Sure.
really is. I'm still of that school of thought.
Well, that wraps it up for today's top 5 from Reddit. That's going
Copy.
to be the abnormal news for the week. Question for you: do you like having the memes in here?
Yeah, I
I
do.
actually do. Okay, all right. So I think we'll keep the format,
Because
and
it
if the
makes it
top article
hilarious.
is a
It's just
meme,
because it's not always gonna be like a UFO was spotted and the whole world saw it. It's gonna be this, which is like comical. Like it's amazing too. Like because it lets you know that also this community also knows that this is just ridiculous too.
yeah, some stuff is just like completely absurd. Well, okay, so here's what's the idea with taking the memes out, is that when you do take the memes out, you are going to basically see some things that might be just not seen, right? So there might be like a really good UFO post that's like in the top 30, right? That is, you know, very compelling. And if we're just going by like whatever most people upvote, then you're not going to see that kind of stuff. But the thing is, like, I actually love seeing these memes.
Well, I mean, I think
highlight.
it's something that now is like so present in our lives. Memes, like
Yeah,
it's just funny that this is just the best thing this week out of everything that possibly has been happening. Of all the there's been a lot of good UFO postings on the subreddit recently. I don't know if you've dived into it. A lot
yeah.
of them. Ohio, I think there's a really big one, and also too somewhere in New York there's like a really big one, but it's not going to be as big as this.
So here's what we'll do. We will keep with the memes and we'll keep with the format of the top 5. But if you are a viewer and you have a suggestion for a Reddit post or an article that has not shown up in the top 5 of the abnormal news that we'll be running, please submit it to us. Put it in the comments in YouTube, and we will add that as a user segment so that we can look at some things that are a little more curated, because I think that that would be a nice mix. Well, that's going to wrap up our podcast for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you can, like and subscribe. It goes a long way for small content creators like Chris and myself. We will be doing this every single Sunday at 6 p.m. PST all the way up through December. At that point, we're going to be taking a look at some other streaming platforms, but you will always be able to find us here on YouTube after the fact. So thanks again, have a good night, and stay curious.